When a parent comes to me with a particular problem, they often have a correlated dream. They dream about what is the right college for their son or daughter. What will it look like? What is it going to feel like for them to walk down the hallway and know that this is where they're meant to be, this is what they're meant to study, and they know where they're headed. So I'd like to begin by telling you a story about Robert. Robert came to me, relatively good grades, active in sports, participating in clubs and activities, and his parents thought perhaps there would be some kind of edge they could get. Is there some kind of strategy to employ? What questions are they not asking that they should be asking? And what's really interesting about Robert is when he was stressed, he underperformed. He was paralyzed by anxiety. So what we did was a study journal. We broke down his year to a month, his month to a week, and his week to the day. We made it so that Robert could live the day. And by living the day, he lived up to his potential and ultimately ended up getting a 1590 on his SAT. So Robert just represents one student among many from those I have served over the years. Some have come struggling with low grades, others stressed about standardized tests, but it is through the process, through the methodology, we are able to help all of these students improve, reduce stress, and ultimately find their purpose. One of the things that's at stake is grades. Many students define themselves based on their academic performance. They may see themselves as a B student, an A student, or they may not wish to even define themselves by the grades they're getting because they know they're underperforming their true potential. When students are struggling academically, sometimes they will over or under participate in clubs, activities, and sports, sometimes to escape from the academics into something else where they are successful, or maybe to buttress their resume with a lot of different activities so that it looks good on a college application. It's about finding the right balance and joining those activities and clubs for the right reasons. Another challenge for students is identifying the right major. Often, students will be asked too late with the wrong questions to figure out what they're supposed to do with the rest of their life. It's a big question, and it's one that requires a methodology to look within and figure out what it is are you naturally good at, where are you talented. And it's not necessarily about what major you'll be in college that you're asking yourself, it's what do you want to do? What problems do you want to solve? How do you want to contribute to the world? What is your purpose? And once you understand these, at least at an elemental level, you can then begin to think about what particular line of studies will be most appropriate for you, which ultimately leads you to college choice. We need to think about college not as a binary choice between urban and rural or large and small. It's really more about finding a fit based on other factors like what industry are you interested in studying, and is that college near the industry? What kinds of internships will you get by going to that college? What is the school culture? And ultimately, what do you need from a college to help provide you with the right skills to fulfill your purpose? These kinds of questions can't be asked on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper one day with your guidance counselor mixed in with all of your other classes. This really needs to be integrated into a methodology that we teach students so they know how to look within and find the answers to this question. So what's at stake? Really what we're talking about is opportunity versus regret. Regret means we didn't do all that we could to optimize what we had a chance to do. Figuring out college major is complicated. Getting a good SAT or ACT score is challenging. Selecting the right combination of courses takes time to figure out. Figuring out who you are and what you want to be takes time to nurture and to cultivate, which means begin early. Ask the big questions at the right time. If you think you should start today, you should have started yesterday. But at the same time, don't look at this as a missed opportunity, but rather don't wait. So what does this solution look like? There are three main elements I'd like to discuss with you. The first is the most important, study skills. When I sit down with students to evaluate, I'll look at how well can they outline, how well do they synthesize a presentation, how well do they understand the concepts that they wrote down, do they flag any items that they don't understand, do they plan to speak with the teacher the next day to make sure that they're responsible for all that they're taught. Often the answer is no. Study skills doesn't come naturally to most students, and so they require some sort of study skills training. So what this typically looks like is training a student on note-taking, synthesis, teacher engagement, purposeful training to identify how to take better notes, how to plan, and how to prepare. The second major element is standardized testing. There are so many to choose from today, and each has a very different and specific purpose. What is most important is to cultivate a long-term plan, identify requirements, and then back map what is needed to be done and when in order to best prepare for college. Once a student understands that the purpose of an SAT or ACT in many ways is to predict college GPA, they're able to then better put in the right amount of effort, plan accordingly, and ultimately take the more rigorous coursework that will better prepare them for these tests. Ultimately, test prep should refine what a student already knows, teach what they do not know, and provide a strategy to optimize their score. The third element is college planning. Not every student may know what major they wish to select or what they want to do for the rest of their life, and that's okay. But what matters is a student has to apply as either undecided or a particular major when they submit their application. For this purpose, it is important to cultivate a sense of what you like to do, what are you good at, and what would you like to pursue, which is why beginning this process as early as possible is important. When parents ask me what is an ideal college application, I tell them that it should represent 4 years of purposeful focus and discipline of a student who tried to do all that they could any given day to learn what they were taught, to seek what they wanted to discover, and to find their life's purpose. The hallmark of an organized student is one who is able to plan the year, plan the quarter, plan the week, but live the day. Organization is not just about remembering or forgetting, is not just about scheduling and reminding, it is also about efficiency. So when does this timeline begin for you and your child? Really, the answer is now. Now's the time to move forward mindfully, informed, and with purpose. What we do is identify within the student the map that is within them, help them chart a course and figure out what series of steps they need to take, and ultimately navigate to college and beyond.